All right, and I think we are live. So I still see very few people, so let's wait a few minutes for everyone to join. Let's make sure that everything is okay in Meetup, on LinkedIn, and with the links that I sent on Telegram and WhatsApp. If you are here, say hi, comment something so that we know that you are following us. We do not see people that are, we do not see the numbers of people that are connected through LinkedIn due to an error in the StreamYard reporting. So if you are connected, do say hi. And welcome back to a new event of the Italian Power BI community. We've been away for a while, or at least I've been away for a while because I haven't presented an event in like a month because I always had something to do. So now I'm back. And with me, there is Victor, as usual, to assist
Hello.
and to help with the streaming. And we have Gert, who is going to present this session today with us. So, hi, Gert. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to be here, and thanks for the invitation.
So, today, let me start going through the introduction while we wait for the people to join our streaming. We have an interesting one, an interesting event, something that we haven't talked about a lot in the past. I mean, we usually do events about modeling in Power BI, tax, reporting, stuff like this. Today is a really interesting one, I think, because we get to see what Gert had to do to develop his own custom visual in Power BI, which by itself is already interesting enough. And then how he got it published and certified on the Microsoft App Store. So he's going to share his journey with us. It's going to be really interesting. I think even if you're not interested in developing custom visual, it's a really good piece of knowledge to have. At least that's my opinion. So we're really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this session. So before we start, I see that there are a few people connected that have already said hi from LinkedIn. People are joining from YouTube as well at the moment. So let me introduce the community as usual while we wait for more people to join. If this is the first time that you're here with us, we are PBIUG Italy, a community that talks about Power BI, business intelligence, Microsoft Fabric, SQL, everything related to these technologies and to this profession. Mostly Italian-based, but we do events with a lot of international speakers like Gert. So yeah, feel free to join our channels and the community as well. Where you can join us, where you can follow our events. We are present on these social media platforms. On LinkedIn, you can, we post every event, of course, as well as we do a meetup. Every event is created on both platforms. We have a Telegram community chat. That is an Italian-speaking community, but if you want to join anyway and ask questions in English, that's perfectly fine. And we have both a WhatsApp and a Telegram notification channel. So every time, if you don't want to be involved with community, you say too much, chatting, too many messages, I don't want to. We have channels on WhatsApp and Telegram just for notifications. So we just say, look, there's going to be this event on this date. You're not bothered by anything else. You can just subscribe, and you find everything in the Power BIUG Italy link tree that you can see in the description, and that Victor is going to post, I guess, in comments on LinkedIn and YouTube, as we do with every event. And join the YouTube channel if you want to see this event later on, or any other event we did in the past. They are all saved on our YouTube channel. We have a GoFundMe. If you feel generous and you like our activities, we have expenses for this StreamYard platform that we are using. We have expenses for the live events that we do over Italy and beyond. There is never a ticket for our events. Both the streaming events and the in-person events are free for the people, for the attendees. So if you want to join the GoFundMe as well, feel free to do so. It will be really appreciated. We have a call for speakers. If you are a speaker, or if you are even someone that has something interesting to share, please do join our call for speakers. It's in the link tree as well. submit your session. This is a very good place to start your career as a speaker as well. Even if you're not a seasoned speaker, I don't need to push seasoned speakers to apply because they will do if they want to. But if you have the idea of presenting something and you haven't done it before, it's a very good space to do so. If you have something interesting to share, please apply with us, and we will definitely check out the application. Also, we are starting to finish the list of sessions that we received. We still have a few that we can use for the next month, but we do 2 events every month for streaming, so it's not a lot. It's a lot of events. So if you have something you want to share, we're going to have space in the coming months for you. The community is open for everyone. We could use the help in managing all the activities that we do, social channels, live events, streaming events, even doing something like this, just introducing a guest and managing StreamYard during an event for 1 hour. If you want to help us with these activities, if you would like to contact us, and yeah, we could use the help to grow, especially the community. Now, the next events, some interesting news for our community. Well, of course, today we are here with Gert, so it's not really a next event. It really is because it's coming. But and then in the next few weeks, we have 2 interesting ones. One is the next Turin Data Meetup. So you know that we're going to have a bi-monthly meetup in Turin, an in-person event with real people, not a streaming one. The next one is going to be on the 10th of June, same place in Toolbox in Via Agostino da Montefeltro. And it's going to be with a very interesting couple of guests, because we have 2 guys from Databricks who are joining this event. And for us, it's always been very important to bring together technologies. Like, we are Power BIUG Italy, okay, but we are business intelligence people, we are developers, we are data analysts, we are not tied only to Power BI as technology. So we want to bring also people from these companies. There's going to be a couple of friends from Databricks. We're going to talk about Databricks. We're going to see what Databricks is useful for. We're going to see how we can use it with Power BI, when Databricks is better than other tools, or maybe not, when it comes to ETL, data warehousing, whatever. We're going to discuss all this stuff with them, and we're going to have a chance to ask questions. And guests that are coming, I've worked with them. They are really, really good. So it's going to be a really interesting experience. We're going to publish everything in the coming days, of course. And then on the 23rd of June, we're going to have David Kofodan, who has already been with us at the Ticino Data Conference in Ticino, in Switzerland. He's going to come to speak with our community virtually in an event like this one, about unlocking Power BI developer mode with Power BI projects. So it's going to be a session about Power BI projects, developer mode, all this stuff that is really cool. And of course, the Ticino Data Conference is coming back at the end of October. This is not yet published, but it's coming in the next few days as well, and with very special speakers like the year before. And of course, there is going to be a call for speaker for that event as well. So if you are a speaker and you are connected in this session, do apply also to that call for speaker. There will be a specific one just for that conference. So I think that's it from me. I think I've taken enough time and enough people have joined. So I'm going to leave the floor to Gert for his presentation. I'm just going to remove my slides. You can see. And yours. There you go.
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me. A lot of stuff on your plate in the coming months. So if you're interested in the area of Power BI, there's enough stuff to share from your end, I noticed. So that's really nice. And it's nice to be in your community. We have in the Netherlands also a quite big community. And I think it's important to share with each other the journeys that you are experiencing in the field of data analytics, Power BI, etc. So today, I'm happy to share some of my experience with you guys in this coming 50 minutes. let's see how far we come. Yeah, please enjoy. So, little bit of background. Ciao. That's the only probably Italian word you will hear from me today. My name is Gert. I live in the Netherlands. I'm, let's say, during the day, a data and BI consultant. Do a lot of stuff around data analytics and tooling on the sweet spot of tools, people, and data, or really like to work there. And by night, I put it a little bit black and white. By night, I'm a builder, Power BI custom visuals, but that's a broader journey already. So I'll come to that the next slide. So I have two companies, Work Smarter. Started as a consultancy firm to help FMCG companies in the area of pricing and promotion management, and a lot of other stuff. And Code Studio, which I started last year when I started to ride the wave of vibe coding, actually. So I was quite early, I think, onboarding on that journey, because I noticed that that was a way to realize all the things that I never could have realized. So I have a background in FMCG in most commercial roles, account management, category management. That helps me being, let's say, kind of the subject matter expert, also in control of the stuff that I'm doing. And yeah, today I want to share you the journey that I had been following to build and certify and then license also a Power BI custom visual from, let's say, a pain point that I had during the time that I was working with data a lot. So a little bit on my technical journey. So I started in 2015 in a more, let's say, developer role in Unilever, where I started to write my first line of VBA coding with macros in Excel. I had a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet was exploding. So people start to say, hey, what you're doing, you need to do that in a database or whatever. But I was not, let's say, technically capable of doing that. So some other people said, hey, just start using VBA, write your macros to apply formulas when they're needed. And once done, just write them back as hard-coded data, and that will reduce your file drastically. And that was kind of the starting point where I noticed, hey, this is way more where I get energized than in the commercial roles that I had before. I couldn't do the things that I would have done going forward without that background, because you already always need to be, let's say, on the seat of the user to develop stuff. But hey, I really liked that first time starting to explore things myself. And that was really doing it the hard way, thinking of ideas, then digging into Google, YouTube videos, etc., to find out every piece of the puzzle that I needed to create to set up my first file, which was in the end a file about measuring all the prices of products in supermarkets and combine it together in one big file and control that. So I started also in Unilever with data visualization. Started with Tableau, which was at that point in time the leading part of the leading technology. Luckily, Power BI has stood up quite heavily there. So it was a good journey to start with, starting with Excel files, connecting to my dashboards, and then later on also an SQL server, building it up from scratch. And then my journey more went into the area of pricing and promotion tooling, implementing that and designing that. And Power BI came in my life in around 2020 during COVID. That was the time that I had some time to learn more about data visualization in Power BI. I noticed that Tableau was kind of not being, let's say, the leading partner in visualization, but that Microsoft really has chosen the path to become, let's say, the market leader there. So I decided to step in that journey, and that grew also to providing in the end Power BI training on behalf of a Dutch company called Get Responsive. Probably some of you know the company. And that was kind of my journey related to visualization and starting with the technical stuff. And then early 2025, vibe coding for me started, where I was listening to a podcast. People were discussing, let's say, vibe coding and all the technology changes on a weekly basis. And they were stating that, okay, vibe coding, it's nice. People can create a nice front end. And then quite often it stops. And I had the idea, hey, I think it's already much further than only that front end. And for me, that was kind of the trigger to start working on a game, which is called Quicks Online. Quicks is a German dice game, but very popular in the Netherlands, which you can play together with a maximum of 4 people at home. And I had the idea, hey, let's make that also a virtual one so people can play it also from a distance. And that in the end proved to me that the technology was already further than just being able to build a nice front end. So I was capable of building the front and the back end, get it working, get it published, started to write a little bit about it on LinkedIn and in some Facebook groups. And then it started gradually to grow to a user base where we this year are already past the 30,000 games already being played. And that was for me really the start to create way more stuff. So my bookkeeper asked me to support her in a kind of a shortcut tool to install that. And I found out that it was kind of an unfriendly shortcut tool with a lot of coding per shortcut, resulting in a lot of icons in your system tray. So that was not really convenient. So I tried to build a more convenient shortcut tool, which is called SwapText. And I was able also to push that to the Microsoft Store and get that then published over there. So that was for me also the first interaction with Microsoft to create, let's say, a partner account and get that partner account assessed by them. And as soon as that's done, then you are allowed to publish stuff in the Microsoft Store. And that extended also with a voice tool where you can just talk to your machine and then it's transcribed into text. So probably people know the online tools that are now quite popular. But I developed an offline tool that is running just on your machine with a local LLM translating or transcribing whatever you say into text, but nothing leaves your machine. It all stays on your machine. So it's more secure. And I built several platforms. And then, now that's what we're presenting. Somewhere just before Christmas, I started to dig into the capabilities of building also custom visuals myself. So that started with a dumbbell visual. And once I discovered that, hey, I was capable of creating that, I started to imagine about, let's say, the pain that I had during my time, especially in FMCG, building dashboards for promotion planning, to see if that could be replaced with something that would really fulfill my needs.
Gert, sorry, you started building custom visual after reading the article from Phil Semark, where he wrote about how to build custom visual with vibe coding.
Yeah, no, I was actually before that. So he was in the Dutch Power BI user days, one of the opening speakers, and there he was asking how many people in this room have already built a custom visual, and a few.
Got it. You went there. You were there live, seeing him in action.
Yeah. So actually, it's on my next slide because he showed there how easy it really was to build a custom visual. But I was already way beyond that journey, because exactly in that week, it was somewhere in March, that was the week that Microsoft has given me the certification of my my custom visual. So I was a little bit ahead of what he was presenting, but I think that was a trigger for a lot of people to open their eyes to say, okay, hey, if you're running into issues with the standard visuals, yeah, then there are other ways also to go. Hey, you can create your SVG stuff. What is it? India? Yeah, I cannot pronounce his name, but there was a guy.
The DNAB, the SVG Vega Lite also.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of stuff can be done there, but still that are kind of yeah, also nice visuals that you can create. But the thing that I was looking after was way more complicated, I guess, to get in a visual like that. So, but you're right. He was really stimulating people, I think, to start thinking about building custom visuals yourself. And let's say the ability to build in just one sentence a Pac-Man game or whatever game you think of. Yeah, for me, that was kind of the confirmation that I was on the right path. And hopefully for a lot of other people, it was kind of a first inspiration to think of, okay, if I have some limitations, I can start that journey. But for me also, when I step into something, for me, that's also then going, let's say, the extra mile to really get it from a first visual towards something that really can be used. And that's actually the way I always start also thinking about when I think about developing tools. It's not only that I build for my own purpose, but I always try to think of, okay, how can I make it reusable? How can I make a product of it? So swap text, swap voice. I could have created it just for myself. It was way more nicer also to get that journey, to get that into the Microsoft Store. So one prompt and you're done. And I can show it. Let me see if I can get it on the screen. I think you're seeing it. So we can really play in Power BI the game Pac-Man ourselves. And it's really fun. We'll just swap back to the presentation. But hey, yeah, I hope that at least show you already, hey, what are the possibilities? Because I was never thinking of a game in Power BI. And of course, that's kind of an insane thing to do. But it shows how easy it is to get something there which is really working in, let's say, the technology that Microsoft requires already. And yeah, probably will not get this certified, but at least it was for me the first. Now, this was not the first thing I discovered, but that was the dumbbell. But it made me realize how relative easy it is to get something in the store or get something up and running. But get something up and running in terms of, hey, it works on my laptop, and then get it by Microsoft certified. Yeah, there's something in between, because then, of course, you start with real data, and real data is quite often messy. So you need to also understand your users and the data, what they will bring to the plate to start visualizing, in this case, promotions. They're quite keen, quite often, on, okay, what can I adjust myself to customize it to my needs? And related to certifications, yeah, they have, and they, I mean Microsoft, have a lot of rules around, okay, what is allowed and what is required. And so, for instance, my idea was to get a license in that visual that I could sell myself and not via the Microsoft Store, because then it's a per user base. And I wanted to something which is more a per country base. And then if you start to look around on the ways to certify that and have the license then in your visual, yeah, there are also the limitations that normally speaking, you would sell a license, and that license would make a call to a server to check if the license is valid, and then message that back to, let's say, the application. in Power BI that works differently. Everything needs to be baked in. So I'll come to that a little bit later. And so the journey of vibe coding is a little bit going now into agentic coding. And with agentic coding, I mean that with vibe coding is really, let's say, the lazy coding. Just tell the computer what you want and just put it in production and don't look at the code at all when the code is written. And with agentic coding is way more around, okay, still describing what you need, but then also being keen on what's coming back. Start to ask questions to the LLM that you're using. I use Claude a lot in most of the times, so that you start to understand the data, that you will also really dig into the testing area very thoroughly, so that it's way beyond, let's say, a one-shot prompt to create that certified visual. So it was kind of a big journey. So we have some minutes left, but I need to speed up, I guess, to tell you, let's say, the journey that I took. So it started for me when I realized that I was able to create a custom visual with the pain that I had when I was in commerce. And so as an account manager and also as a category manager, quite often on a regular basis, we needed to present and get insight in all the promotions that were running within all the supermarkets that we were shipping to, in terms of all the brands per segment, looking for the overlap between retailers, because promotions, if you want to have them effective, they need to be spread nicely in time across different retailers. I was very interested in the mapping of our above-the-line campaigns with the different brands versus the promotions in especially the bigger supermarket chain, to really make sure that the campaigns and the promotion will benefit from each other. And other things like, okay, what do we do on a year-on-year basis? Are we running behind or front our scheme? And is that related to a promo scheme that is more front planned or more backward planned? So I tried a lot with native Power BI visuals, but that didn't, let's say, fulfill my need in terms of, for instance, also the way promotions are planned. I guess in all markets, they're not all nicely planned from Monday until Sunday, but some supermarkets start on a Wednesday, some on a Monday, some have week promotions, some have weekend promotions, some have 2 weeks promotions. So all those different time lags need to fit in nicely into a visual, and that was not available. So I also started to download custom visuals related to Gantt, but all those Gantt charts are more in the area of project planning and not so much focused on the specific thing that I was looking for. And not having, let's say, that ability in a visual resulted in a big cost for a lot of companies, I guess, and the scrolling through Excel files, the tools that they have or whatever, to answer all the business questions that are asked in the commercial or the sales and operations planning meetings. So that was kind of the trigger for me once I realized, okay, hey, now I'm capable probably of creating that visual. So the idea was to create a flexible Gantt showing all the promotions on all the selected dimensions. So on brand, on customers, but also on segments, on content, or whatever you could think of, what was in your data. And so my first experiment was the Dumble chart. And when I found out that it was working, I started to explore a little bit deeper on, okay, what's then the Microsoft path to create a visual? What do they require? How do I distribute it? And luckily, I had already that experience with Swap Text and Swap Voice. And in the end, my idea was to get something like this with some nicely spread blocks on the promotions on, and this is just one line, on, in this case, a fancy name called Butterbest with the Dutch retailer there, where at least I already could see, based on color coding, where my promotions were planned. So that was the starting point. And from there, I took it from, let's say, a rough prototype. So I just started in Claude because I was still experimenting and I was still not really convinced that I was capable of really creating this complex thing that I had envisioned in a working piece. So you see here a Dutch sentence or long sentence, and that was in the end the first prompt I put in Cloud to start working, and that resulted in the end in my first working visual. So I was a bit surprised also that with a limited set of data, so I didn't think around all the overlap things, the number of lines normally related, but just the first rough prototype, I was capable of creating that, and that worked already. So that was a nice thing. But I also found out that not everything worked from day one. So I will come to that when I started to work a little bit more seriously on that visual. So, and that was kind of between Christmas, a little bit before Christmas, until, let's say, the end of the year, in a few phases where I built the foundation of the visual, started to work on the color part, because I wanted to be able to adjust the colors related to the retailer brand colors or the brand colors that we had as a company, or that people have as a company, so that for all the brands that you have in your data set, that you can tailor those colors, and that those colors will stay even when you start to change your view or move back and forward, etc. And especially that took me already quite some time, because the things started to break. And then I started to try to fix it again. So just by interacting with the LLM. But then after a while, I found out, hey, we're going in the wrong direction. We need to revert. And that's also where I took it after this, let's say, prototype phase. This was all done just in Claude in the chat window. They are already capable of let Claude develop something. But that's not, let's say, the way normally you will develop tools, because that would be done in, I use Visual Studio, I have GitHub connected to it. So with GitHub, you have kind of the online storage of your latest code version, and you can push new codes towards GitHub so that you get an history. So if there's anything wrong, you can easily revert back. And if you develop something just in the chat window from any LLM, it's harder, of course, to roll things back, because that's then related to the memory that the tool has. And luckily, the memory is growing. So the number of tokens that it can keep still in one chat window is quite large, but you will hit limits if you go on, and then it will be harder to roll back. So in the end, I had a working version, and that version was good enough to start talking with other users. And I think that's an important step in developing. So I had that ID. That ID was already working. And then I was putting it in front of other people's in the industry. So a category manager, someone in the S&OP process, an account manager, someone more in the space of supply chain management. So different user perspectives were brought in. And that helped me fine-tuning my input for the next real version. So I took something like a today line, so that you can easily spot where we are, putting in the above the line campaigns, ghosting versus last year, but also fiscal year flexibility. So if you are not in the Netherlands with your company, but for instance, somewhere in the States or whatever, then your fiscal year might start on the 1st of July, for instance. And also for that, I wanted this visual to be fit for purpose. So build that also on the roadmap, that you have some flexibility on that. And that's also where I started to hand over, let's say, the development to Cloud Code, which is normally my co-place to when I start to develop tools and apps. But this was not really the first thing on my mind to start with Cloud Code, because yeah, I was not really expecting that I was capable of building a custom visual. But hey, my prototype worked. So next was to get it certified, get it sellable, and get it also maintainable. Because when you, it's a Dutch phrase, when you say A, you also need to say P. So you need to go the full journey. And if you start to sell something, that's also the trigger, at least for me, to make sure that I set something up in a way that it's maintainable and that I can maintain it also going forward, because Microsoft is also, of course, on a monthly basis pushing a lot of changes in Power BI. So I hope they always take into account, let's say, all the custom visuals and how they work. But at some point in time, for sure, I will also experience that due to an upgrade of Power BI, my visual break, and then I need to be capable of solving that and then pushing that to the end users. And I will come to some tips for that as well on the end, because I already have gone through some pain points to ensure that people get the latest version. So here started my journey on, hey, something is working, to, okay, will it pass the review, and will I get it then certified, and a step further. So when I started to discuss, I call it discuss with the LLM, how to set up my data and how to combine then the above the line data with my promotions, together also with, I call it event data. So for me, when I was planning promotions, it was also quite important to know the special moments in time. So when does the World Soccer starts? When it's Christmas, when it's Easter, and all those weeks are quite important in planning your promotions in the most optimal weeks. So I wanted to combine that in one view, and in that one view, especially on the promotions itself and the above the line campaign, I was envisioning that on both you could have independent tooltips. So tooltips on your promotions around your volume, your planned and your actual realized full volume, and actuals and discounts, incremental profit, some more the promotion related stuff. But then on the tooltip for your above the line campaign, more things around, okay, how much is invested in that above the line campaign? Is it a heavy campaign or not? So the additional things that are not related to your promotions, but are really related to your above the line. So there I found out that I needed to combine those three tables in just one table with one column, which is called record type, making the distinction between, is it a promotion, is it above the line, or is it an event line? And that is then fed into the visual sandbox, which is the box in where the data is being passed, which is then throwing out your visual on the canvas. And of course, it needed to be 100% inside Power BI, secure, fast, and certified. So that's the way, and one hurdle at least I took after first trying it with separate tables, and then not being able to achieve that the tooltip stuff and also the combined stuff, that when I click on the brand, that both the promotions are being filtered, but also the above the line campaigns were being filtered. So that's more, let's say, the background on that union table. So the promotions are really placed in bars in separate promo rows, and above the line campaigns, if you activate that, will be placed on top of that, above your promotions. And then on your Gantt, we have colored columns. You can decide even the color of them, which are highlighting then those event weeks. And then there was other thing around the number of rows. So promotions for a lot of companies is not about just 10, 20, 30, but hundreds or even thousands of them. So I needed also a visual that was capable of rendering in a fast way. So it's probably a little bit related to just doom scrolling on your phone. There's a lot of information, but that information that is displayed is not all stored in your phone when you just open up a site, but quite often it's rendering when you scroll down. And that's exactly what has been built in this visual also, to make sure that it keeps performing smooth and fast in a way that a user doesn't see, let's say, hiccups in the data build and again build itself. So when I started to think about the pricing, I came to a 4-tier plan with a license key in it, which is kind of a long string around 200 and something characters, which has the customer and of course the end date baked in, and it's checking that versus a code baked in and obfuscated in the code in the tool itself, which then makes sure that it's seeing if that code is valid or not. So no external calls are being made. So basically what I have is you start with, when you download the visual, with a trial, where you can try the full functionality for 14 days, because I wanted people really to be able to enjoy the full set. And then if they start to buy it, then they can buy the license and start benefit from that day onwards to all, let's say, the things in the visual. And if not, it's falling back to a free plan with some limitations, but still giving you the idea of how the visual is working. I see that a little bit, let's see my, the coloring was a little bit heavy.
Yeah, you were red. You are red.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
I don't know. This is better.
That is.
It's kind of a hiccup, I guess.
So weird. Well, now that we're here, we have one question for the viewers.
Okay.
Emma is asking, when you're developing the custom visual, do you point the agent or agents to any documentation about PBI bits or maybe MCP about PBI bits?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. So indeed, and that was already part of, let's say, the work that I was doing between Christmas and New Year's Eve, that I was already checking first myself, of course. I see that I'm becoming red again.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with me, so no worries. It's just the camera. But I started to see, hey, where's all the documentation? And then I started indeed to feed that also to my agent to take into account all the requirements. And especially around the license stuff, that is, of course, something they also a step further, where I also started to look on, okay, how are other people baking that in? So I started also to look, and I call it always steal with pride on, okay, how can I achieve that? But it's very important to feed and to give, let's say, your LLM the context that is needed to create the visual. So all the technical guidance from Microsoft is baked in there indeed. Yeah, good question.
And we have one more question from Simone. He's asking about licensing. Maybe he's planning to buy the custom visual.
Yeah, thanks
He's
for the
asking
question.
if the license is per user or per tenant.
Yeah, so a lot of the licenses sold, let's say, via the Microsoft Store, where Microsoft is also collecting the licenses, are user-based. And what I was thinking of was, hey, in FMCG, you have kind of per country that you're using it or not. And I don't want any limitations on the number of people using it. I want everybody, when it's implemented, to be able to enjoy it without any limitations. So I built a per country license model, where then kind of a discount is being applied when there are more companies or more countries involved. So if you're a European FMCG company being in 5 or 6 countries, then from the 4th country onwards, there's already a discount in it. So that's the way I approached it.
But that version is not certified, right? The one per country base.
No, that is certified. But the thing is that the license part is being done by me. So I baked in the license key. And when you're interested in it, you go to my website. So it was not only, let's say, building this visual, it was also building the full system around it. So I started already with 5Code Studio last year, but that was just a website showing how I can support companies or people in taking an ID to a minimal remarkable product, I would say, in days and not in months, to at least be able to test something quite in a fast way. So that was more, let's say, the proposition of my website. And now I extended that also for this visual with a portal where you come to when you want to buy it, you choose your plan, you go to the checkout and you pay, or you ask me to send an invoice. And then when that's done, you get access to a customer portal login page where you will see your license key, which you then can copy into the visual.
Into the visual, got it.
Yeah.
Then later, will you show us that website?
Yeah, I can put it on.
And the whole process, yeah. So that maybe people that are interested.
Yeah, it's a little bit also in my presentation already explained.
Got it. All right.
Go ahead. So cool. But thanks for the questions. So this is about the tiers indeed that I created. And then, of course, the App Source certification. So that was kind of a two-steps approach. So the first step was creating the visual, making sure that everything was working and that it was based on the requirements of Microsoft. And so there was the documentation really helpful. And that was, let's say, the first contact point with Microsoft to get that at least in the App Source. And so that requires that you create that partner account. So you log into the Microsoft partner environment. You create the account. You need to provide a lot of information and some documentation also around, especially when you're a company, and then get through that process of getting it into the App Source. That was relatively easy and done in a few days. And then the next step was to get it as a certified visual. So that's kind of the second submission. So in the end, you can submit the same stuff, but then at least you already know that the first gate was already taken and that it was already available. And then in the second gate, Microsoft really start to look in depth to your code. So you are requested to create a dedicated GitHub environment where you publish all your code and of course ensure that that Microsoft has access to that and that they can start checking it. So then they will do a full check on your code at the moment in time. And once that's being approved, that takes around 2 or 3 weeks. I think it took me more than 2 weeks. Then you get, let's say, the approval that it's being approved, so that you can see that in the portal. And then it still takes around 2 or 3 weeks until that batch becomes visible also in the App Source itself. So it's an interesting journey to get that. And then, the hard lesson is really on testing then your live published visual, because I also started, I received some feedback from, let's say, the App Source variant that was already in the store versus getting that one certified. So there were some things that needed to be improved in my visual. So I started to develop that, and then I started to test it because I noticed some things in the behavior. So in the service, it was giving some errors because people were allowed in the end to put a negative height in the visual. So I didn't limit to 0 or 10 or whatever. I didn't put any limitation on it, and Microsoft is requiring that. Nobody probably will ever set the bar height on -10 or whatever, but still it was a reason for them to disapprove. And then I needed to provide and create an upgraded version. So I tried to fix it, and then I started to test it. And as soon as I started to test it, I noticed, hey, I built this code, and now when I run it in my Power BI environment, I don't see the changes. It was still allowing me to put in that negative height. And what I found out in the end was that the name of your app, every app gets a unique name. When you develop something locally, and you still locally then download that visual into your report, it's still overwritten for some of, let's say, the settings by the one that is being published in the app source. So that was a pain of around 3 days, probably me trying to fix something which was already fixed on my first iteration. But due to that interference from the app source, it was not working. So it looks like I have a real big problem, but I didn't have a problem. So it was kind of frustrating, to be honest. So when you have published something and you are working on a new version, just let the system call it your GUID name, and then we have test or development, at least something which can distinguish the production name versus the test name, and then use the test version for your local testing, so it's not interfering with everything in the app source. I was talking a little bit about that license stuff. So I extended in the end my website. So that's vibecodestudio.nl. I have it. I can put it on screen as well, where I placed a dedicated page to explain in the end the visual with a video, with some screenshots, the ability to schedule also a session with me to explain it more in depth. And then at the bottom, there's the pricing plan where you can click on and then buy the license. So that takes you to the checkout page, and that's then fulfilling the payment via Stripe, popular payment handler, I guess. Probably you are familiar with it if you are buying some LLMs, for instance. A lot of them also do the payment via Stripe. And I created a customer portal with what they call a magic link login. So you don't have to recall any passwords. You just press the login button. It asks you for your email. And when you enter that, you will get an email with an 8-digit code. And you can just cue it in, and then you land as a user in your portal where you can see your license, you can renew, you can expand, and you can also download the invoices. So it's kind of a self-service system, and that's also the case for the renewal. So at the end of the year, the users will get automatically a month in advance an email that the license is expiring, and then they can log into the portal and self-service extend that. And that's also some of the things that I implemented, also with the connection with the users. Make sure that you automate as much as possible so that you get your time free to at least spend on the things that matter for you. Nice. Thanks for the link. So I discussed this already. So this is kind of the picture on the checkout page. And as soon as you pay, you get that license code already on your screen, so you can easily copy it into your visual. So that's bringing me to the last slide, which is then in between of a short demo, and probably we are out of time already, but hopefully it's okay. Some things that that I would give the audience here, if you're interested in building a custom visual yourself. I started with the license model a little bit too late, so I needed to fit that into to the product later on. It's better to take that, I guess, already from the start. When you're creating, let's say, the instructions for your users to install it, always request them to do it via the Get More Visuals, or let it be installed by the admin so that it's available in your organization. Because if you're doing it from an import a visual from file, then with an update, you need to really rebuild your report by deleting the old visual and then import a new one. And with the Get More Visuals, then it will be automatically, let's say, published into your reports. So that's an important lesson I learned together also with one of the clients which had a big pain on that. I would also start straight away in Cloud Code. Now that I know that I can create custom visuals, that's always a good start, because then also your version history is nicely maintained with GitHub if you connect those tools together. On updates, it's important to start communicating to your end users once it's available in full, because what Microsoft does is when you have an upgrade of your visual, it's of course checking it again and approving, so you go through the same certification route, and then just straight after it, it's already showing you in the app stores a new version number, and the version number that you published with the new availability date. But when they display that, then it's not automatically already distributing it also automatically from the app store. So people downloading then the latest version will still get the old version, and it takes around 2 to 3 weeks until Microsoft has distributed across the globe. So it's better than to wait and check for yourself, hey, if I'm now downloading the visual on a clean machine, do I really see that new version coming in or not? And one other thing, the nice stuff around creating and publishing a custom visual is that you also get the CRM info from who is downloading it. And I wasn't really aware of that, so that was my learning journey, that after a month I noticed that a lot of companies were downloading it, but then I started to realize, hey, I see the number of countries where it was downloading, and I see a list of companies, but I don't see all the details around it. And then I discovered that in the certification process, you can also set up your CRM system, and it can be even simple by everybody downloading it, push it to an online connected Excel file. Okay? So if you have an Excel file somewhere in your Microsoft environment, you can connect to that, and every download will populate a new row. And that then gives you the possibility also to start communicating with the users, because the information on the app stores is quite limited. And if you downloaded it via Get More Visuals, the moment you have clicked on it, you're already gone from the page from Microsoft. And then still you want to explain probably how you need to set up the tool or the visual, all the things explaining around all the format options and so on. So when people download the visual, they straight away get an email with the link to my support page where everything is explained in depth. And then, of course, I do some follow-ups based on the type of company, is it an FSD company or not, to take them along their journey to see if it's something which is fitting their needs. And of course, when you have got it in the app stores, that's also the start of your marketing journey to get it across, let's say, the finish line, because the finish line is not the certification. That's the point where all things start, at least if you want to get more out of it than just having a visual in the store. Having said that, I think we have hopefully some minutes left to give you a short demo. and then you might have still some questions. So the visual itself, it's just a nice visual, now being taken a lot of space on my Gantt chart, showing now, let's say, the full stuff. So in the back end, I have a few tables, one with the promotion details and one with an overview. And now I have also something on the project part, because I noticed not only FMCG companies are downloading it, but also a lot of people who are, let's say, related to projects in their company. So this visual is just combining these two tables by having, let's say, the ability to hover over and then have the standard drill through. So on all promotions, you see already in the tooltips a lot of information. And if you want more, oh, now I see I screwed something yesterday, so I need to fix that. And you see that when you scroll back, it also remembers, let's say, the point in time where you were. And here you see then those special themes like Father Day or soccer. And then in the formatting part, probably that's two things that I should show to you. So in the setup of the visual itself, you have the ability to add 3 different categories on group by level 1 and 3 on group by level 2. Together also with always the ability to show customer and brands there. In the area of promotions, we have a promotion name and a promo ID. We have some stuff around automatically marking duplications and overlap with promotions, because that's an important thing. If a promotion is overlapping with another retailer, I want to see that easily. So there I have some indicators available. And then, of course, a start and end date. And you see a lot of other things that you can use in the visual. And then all the setting parts, it starts with some standard stuff around the bar heights, the color of the day, etc. And then the nice thing is, of course, about the ability to turn on and turn off all the extra lines that are not relevant for the period in time. I have different periods in terms of how weeks are split across periods. So 4-4-5 or 4-5-4 or just the 13 periods. So it's kind of flexible, also related to that fiscal year start that I was explaining. And then above the line, so you can just turn that on here. And here are the settings which you can change, so also the colors, etc. So now I can just show, for instance, and I can filter by just clicking on one of the 2 levels. And then it's also filtering not only the promotion lines on this brand, but also then the above the line campaign on the brands involved. And there are some icons on, hey, is it on TV or is it digital or whatever? So you see a lot of additional information here in the tooltips. That was something around that union table where I wanted to split it. And we have also that ghosting function, and that's then displaying the promotion plan of last year, so that you can easily see your current promotions versus your last year promotions. So understanding where for every month the results will be affected versus last year in terms of, hey, do we have more or less promotions? And let me just turn some stuff on. Because I turn it off. So these are those overlapping icons. So you see there's a lot of flexibility in terms of turning things on and off when it's relevant or non-relevant for you. And it's also that is now cross-filtering the visual also to all the other elements. So I just put a number of promotions. So as soon as you start filtering here, also all your other elements on your canvas will filter the information out. So that's in a glance, let's say, the promo Gantt. And you can download it for free, so you can experiment yourself or just download the demo version, because that's also, I think, very explainable. And then this is something I just added. This is more, let's say, the project view on different projects, showing in all the different steps related to that project in just one flow. And that's probably something where all other Gantt charts fall short, because those most oftenly have, and that is also something this visual can do, have standard, let's say, this breakdown in terms of different buckets. And of course, all the other stuff, if I go back to the promo Gantt itself, you can easily switch between brands towards segments, towards regions, for instance, and you see how fast it's building up the visual. Well, that's the nice thing about what I've created here. And of course, there's also kind of a zoom level. So if you want to have a more zoomed in or a more zoomed out view, or you want to have different color coding on status instead of, we call it OPSO classification in FMCG, that's indicating if it's bringing incremental profit and incremental profit. So there are a lot of things in it baked to help you around. Having said that, I think the time is up, so I can easily go on for some more minutes, but I can also imagine that you want to be keen on time. So having said that, thank you at least for giving me the floor to present this. And if there are any questions, really feel free.
Thank you so much, Gert, for being so transparent on how you build your solution. Not everyone shows, how they build a custom visual, especially if they are paid like yours. Yeah, we do have questions. One from Emma again. He's very interested in the Gantt. Has Power BI, a Power BI update caused your custom visual to break?
Luckily, not yet. So,
luckily,
but that's what I said. So Microsoft is pushing a lot of stuff on a monthly basis. It's not that insane in terms of if you look at Anthropic, who is doing multiple versions of Claude or whatever per day. At least Microsoft is doing it once per month, and still you see that they screw also their own stuff, like so yeah. I expect at some point in time it will happen. And then at least what I have in place is that I can easily inform all my customers with just one press of a button via my website. As an admin, I have the ability to just put out a message to the people to say, hey, I noticed that the visual has been broken. I will fix it, and then I will inform you when it's done. But then when it's done, I need to go through the pain of that certification again. So it will really take weeks before you have a new version, then a fixed version. But
so
that's
4
probably
weeks
similar
with the
to
visual
Microsoft.
Broken.
Sorry?
4 weeks with the visual that is broken.
Yeah. But that's the case also with the stuff that they broke themselves. That also took a month for the next release before they fixed it. And of course, the flow with recertification is faster, I already noticed, than the first one. And I think because you need to put also some additional notes when you request a new certification to say, hey, this is now related to due to the reason that you have created or pushed something that broke this visual. So I can kindly at least request for a fast push, but then still you have that at least that time for them to distribute it across the globe. So having said that, then probably still, so there's a trade-off that you need to make. Either download the visual and download it from the file, because then you are in control as a user when the new version is being enrolled, but then you need to rebuild all the visuals where you use it, or rely on the automatic part and hope, let's see the coming months. I don't expect, because I, of course, live to the standards that they required me. So it would surprise me if that visual would break. But you never know, of course.
I think that the best solution is to download the PBIUG file, yeah, but don't import it directly into Power BI Desktop, but in Power BI Service under organizational visuals, then you can override the PBIUG file, and doing that, all the Power BI reports get the updated version, so they don't have to manually.
You're fully right. So I think you need to have some. So when you use custom visuals in your company, indeed, I would say, hey, the admin should download it, test it on a visual to see if it's fully working still, and then put it as an organizational chart and push it, because then everything is being updated. I think that's kind of the right sequence. I asked Microsoft around, okay, what's the process and what do you recommend? They didn't mention this, and I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's the best one, because at the end, you are in control on one version do you have.
Yeah.
Maybe it is broken, well, then you go back to the previous version, right?
Exactly. So
the admin can do that.
Yeah, thanks for this, because I will use this now to update my website on the support page to recommend this direction.
But the issue with that is that that requires you to download the PBIUG file. But if you download the PBIUG file, it means that it is not certified, isn't it? The only certified one is the one of the App Store, right?
No, you can also download the certified version from the App Source. So that's the same.
So.
Yeah.
Perfect. If it is also certified, then why not?
So basically, when it's certified, you can just choose, hey, do I directly import it from the App Source, or do I download it? Because the download is, of course, also needed for administrators who want to push it, and in the way you described.
Perfect. So that is the best solution. We don't have any other question, but maybe they will come, because this session was recorded and it's gonna be available on YouTube from now on. So you can come to your video and see if there are questions.
Yeah, and I will answer them then. I will watch it the coming days closely, and if there are any questions, either feel free to reach out via LinkedIn, so people can also scan the QR code to connect or follow me. And it was a pleasure to be here.
Well, the pleasure was all mine and Alessandro's. Thank you, Anne, for the community. Thank you so much for being here in the Power BI Italian community. Well, thank you, viewers, and I will see you in the next one, in the next session. Maybe here in Turin, if you are here, or if you want to come. Thank you. Have a nice dinner. Bye-bye.
Hey, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.